Teen Challenge. I should have saved that for the end. The Teen Challenge, but
you're all right, man. Keep going.
I should have thrown I should have dropped that at the end, but anyway, so now I'm getting offered after fighting my case for 9 months in court, and the whole time I'm in there, I get the keys to the pad. I'm the rep. I'm trying to live for God. I'm trying to call shots and not have all these violent things take place. It was the craziest thing. I'm getting offered drugs, a third of everything. I'm giving them away. I'm keeping the house clean, and it was like everyone knew I was this man of God, and it was like, and I was starting to believe it. And I would pray every night, hey, if you send me to Teen Challenge, I guess I'll go there. Prison sounded easier, because I knew it was familiar. But I also knew that I had this new relationship, and I had to respect it. And, I'll never, the first 3 steps of the Big Book, I was living those in jail. That's where I came to, accept that my life was unmanageable, and I was powerless, and powerless to me means I was godless, and I accepted that I needed a God, and that I needed to surrender my life, and so I got sent to Teen Challenge, man. Like I'll just get to the point. So 9 months I'm in Teen Challenge. I get to Teen Challenge and I start pressing politics right away. Like I had the pad for 8 months. Like I'm not going to take anyone's BS. And of course, I'm saved. So I think I'm changing, and the little did I know I was the furthest thing from changed yet. I had just been forgiven at that point and had salvation. And so I'm working in the kitchen, and I'll share this story with the guys now, and here I am. I think I'm changing, and I'm making Pruno, I'm making Pruno in the kitchen. I'm getting away with it. I'm sneaking off to the store, which this is out, Shafter's out. It's a men's ranch out in the middle of nowhere. They put you out here so you get time to spend with God. You get real recovery.
When he says out in the middle of nowhere, he's not joking. I drove out here, and I'm just like, I hope this guy Matt's for real, because all I see is orchards, and then all of a sudden you come up over this little ridge, and it's a ranch out here, and it's a surprise, because like I said, you're not joking. We're out here, bro.
Yeah.
A run to the store at midnight and working in the kitchen was no easy task.
No, it was like breaking out of Alcatraz, man, for real. So yeah, people aren't sure if we're kidnapping them at first, if this is for real or not. But man, so I'm out here and I'm making these decisions, and at the same time I'm in my word. I'm praying, and what's really happening is just growth's taking place. I'm having these experiences, man, these spiritual experiences. And one night I sneak off to the store. So behind the ranch, you can see it out here. Behind the ranch, there's a 10-acre pasture of pistachios that were donated to the facility. So we get a couple bottles of alcohol, and we don't make it back to somewhere in those orchards, the blackout happened, the alcoholism, took over, and I woke up in the morning in a pile of throw up, you know what I'm saying? And the 2 other guys I drank with had already got busted and had left on their own. And I knew that wasn't an option for me. I knew it was either here or I'm going back to prison. And I was still debating with myself, I'll go to the Salvation Army, or like any other option was going to be better than what God's already ordained me to, be a part of. And I didn't get caught. And it happened to be Sunday morning, and my mom comes and she shows up and she says, hey, how's it going? You don't look too good. And I tell her, hey, look, Mom, I got to tell somebody, I've been drinking, and I got wasted last night, and, a couple guys got kicked out, and I'm probably going to get caught. And I said, I'm sorry. And she goes, hey, she's like, you know what? And I'll never forget this. She goes, quit being sorry and change. And I've heard my mom tell me to change probably a million times in my life, and all the arguments we've had. But the sincerity, and the place I was at in my life, that point of brokenness I was at, true brokenness, and with a sober mind, even though I was, drinking the night before, so I guess I wasn't too my mind wasn't too sober, but with the Spirit of God living in me, man, I just felt it. And, you know, I said, wow, I said, my life is so unmanageable and I am so powerless over everything, not just drugs and alcohol, over every last detail of my life. I said, I can't even get it right in a Christian rehab in Timbuktu, you know? And from that day on, man, something happened. And I still couldn't come clean. I couldn't bring it to the light. They drug tested me, and I tried to, you know, I tried to write it off. And the results came back, and the staff was so loving, man. They set me down, and they checked the condition of my heart. You know, they were like, hey, look, you know, we see that, you know, the last month you've been turning it around, because I had gotten away with it for a month. And I said, yeah, it's because I knew what I did was wrong, you know. And they said, yeah, but, you know, you didn't bring it to the light. You didn't tell us the truth. I said, well, look, I was scared I'd get kicked out. And they said, you know what? I said, look, we love you. And these grown men that had been through the same thing I had been through, because all staff here has gone through the program. They've all been in similar, you know, places in their life. And they said, look, we love you, and we want the best for you. We want you to change, Matthew. And I've never had grown men sit me down in a room and tell me they love me and they want what's best for me and they want me to change. I've always had grown men sit me down in rooms since I was a little kid, throw drugs at me, tell me what to do, and say, go get it done and don't come back. And if without money, and if you come back without money, well, you're better off not coming back at all. You know what I'm saying? So I was in tears, man. I broke down in tears. And I told him, hey, you know, I want what's best for me too. I want to change. And for the first time in my life, I really meant it. And it's like, you know, how the book talks about having spiritual experiences that lead to a spiritual awakening. All those experiences from day one, meeting the bikers, you know, in jail, praying with me, showing me the Bible, showing me the big book, showing me, you know, going through the being a rep as a man of God and trying to have integrity, making Pruno in a rehab, you know, it opened my eyes to who I really was and what was really going on. And from that point on, man, you know, I got willing. I had an open mind. You told me to dig a hole, I'd ask you how deep. You know, it didn't matter what you wanted me to do. I was doing it. And it wasn't to please anybody, but God and, you know, to better myself. You know what I'm saying? So it was needless to say, I got restarted. I had to do the year over. So I spent a lovely 15 months in Teen Challenge. And by the end of my stay here, you get transferred to Riverside after, which is this beautiful 100-year-old historical site, the Benedict Castle. I ended up being the number one fundraiser. I led a fundraising crew of 40 men. We had it's not about the money. It's about spreading the message, man. But when the money comes home, it's because the message you're bringing is real, you know, and we were bringing in $65,000 a month. So I realized I had talents, you know, besides selling drugs and peddling dope and, you know, growing weed, man. And I was doing this all for God. And the relationships I learned how to build over the year, and, you know, how the accountability factor I learned. I mean, I just got equipped, man. Like, you know, and I was talking to you a little bit about this before we sat down. And, you know, I was equipped to go out in the world, man. And, you know, I decided I wanted to give back. So I signed up for a 4-month apprenticeship, voluntary apprenticeship, where I ended up working in the business development office in the main facility, you know, in one of the biggest nonprofits, recovery nonprofits in the country. And at that point, I realized, like, man, like, it's limitless what I'm capable of, man. With God and recovery, everything else is possible. I didn't quit, dude. I walked out the door. I got a job the first day I walked out, working for a nonprofit organization called Samaritan's Purse. And a month after that, I got offered a full-time position working in a medical treatment in Huntington Beach. I'm a Bakersfield boy. Next thing you know, I'm living on 15th and PCH across the street from the beach, you know. And I found, at that point, I found the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, which changed my life, because I found this fellowship of men that had gone through exactly what I had gone through, just like the program I came out of, you know. And it was so diverse though, because there was men there and women still trying to find their relationship with God, still trying to have that spiritual awakening, and then people that have had it, tons of spiritual experiences and spiritual awakenings, revelation after revelation that just, we call it sanctification in Christianity, but I call it just progressive growth in the world, and these men showed me what I learned, in this, how to serve freely without expecting anything in return, and they did it just for the pure love and passion of helping others. And I knew that's what I wanted for the rest of my life, and I knew that's where I belonged. And I just started doing the deal with them. A few panels a week, 7 to 10 meetings, church twice a week still. Next thing you know, I'm getting brothers who need something more in the God aspect. I started getting them to come to church with me, opening their eyes to the Bible, to the Word, and they're still able to. It brought a different dynamic in their life, and it brought one in my life. I realized that there's people that are seeking in different areas, and God uses me, can use me everywhere, man. And Teen Challenge heard what I was doing, asked me to send in a resume, and that's the way God works, man. Is I felt called to this ministry when I left, but I felt like I owed it to go out in the world and test the training that was given to me, and.
Absolutely.
And man, I got this opportunity to come back, and not only did I get this unique position, the position I have now is the admissions coordinator. Well, the admissions coordinator, he goes into the county. I go into the county jails. I talk to the chaplains. I go into the schools. I go into the colleges. The first time I walked into county jail, the first guy I see was the sheriff of the Matrix program, who I directly work with. I went through the Matrix program with him in county jail.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
And I blew his mind,
Yeah.
I go into jail and I see people still that I know, and I get to go in there and share a testimony of what God and recovery did for my life, and how no one is beyond redemption. Not one person. I mean, I was sitting in the exact same jumpsuits, done time in prison, was looking at a 10-year case, and by the grace of God, only by the grace of God, was I delivered into a program that was faith-based, that was in complete connection with God and what he does and how he transforms lives. And I get to share that with the guys, and I'm bringing people in now. It's amazing, man. And then the first guy that actually gets released to my custody, there's this guy, we used to call him RoboCop, man, and he made my life a living hell, man. And he would purposely come in every day and just tear my stuff apart. Nobody else, because I told you I was the rep. And when I left the Teen Challenge, he took his glasses off. I mean, this dude looks like the Terminator. And he winks at me and goes, "Good luck." The first inmate that got released to my custody, he walks out and he hands them to me. And he takes off the gloves, pulls the glasses back, and he goes, "Muchler?" And he goes, "Praise God." He's like, "No way. I never thought in a million years that this day would come."
Wow.
And, man, it brought tears to my eyes, man. I'm like, wow, I did it. I'm doing it,
Full circle.
Full circle, bro.
Yeah. If in recovery, it's just awesome that we're going to change our lives, right? We made that, and we turn our will over to God, and our lives change. But what really is just a full circle. What really is the chapel is that you're going to change someone else's life.
Totally.
Your change, your story is going to save a life.
Totally.
You are in a unique, blessed situation because you get to do it as a vocation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's so many people out there right now listening to Recovery Chapel that have to know that even just the smallest ounce of their story shared is going to make an impact on someone's life. Yeah. I mean, that's our witness, right? That's our testimony. And so it's been awesome talking with you. Thank you for sharing with me. Hey, real quick though, now's the time to plug.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's plug.
You kind of did it in the middle. So I am sitting in a chapel right now, and in Shafter, California, Teen Challenge. And real quick for those out there, Teen Challenge, you take calls And I can look it up at teenchallenge.com or